Welcome to Business Class. I'm Steve Ekstrom from Learn Tourism, a nonprofit academy dedicated to advancing the tourism industry through innovative training and sustainable practices. Our mission? To empower travel professionals and communities with the knowledge they need to create meaningful, authentic, and sustainable tourism experiences. Ready to join us on this journey? Visit learntourism.org and start making a difference today.
I'm Dan Rowe, President and CEO of Visit Panama City Beach. Been doing this job for 18 years now. Prior to that, I was a state travel director in Georgia.
What is the secret to 18 years in one office?
I have a very good board that they're focused on getting things done. We have an innovation culture here that we're always on that leading edge. That has served us very well through some extremely challenging times. Everybody went through the Great Recession, but we had the Deepwater Horizon oil spill, the Cat 5 hurricane, the pandemic. But through it all, we've been able to stay focused on how to continue to grow and put our best foot forward.
What do you do to foster that passion for learning amongst your staff?
The staff, when they come on board here, know that this is part of the way we approach things. From their first day, they're immersed in this. So let's just go create things. Let's go do things. But it becomes very easy because it's part of our DNA. It's part of our culture. They immediately adopt that. And if they don't, they won't be here long because you have to be willing to not just face change, but embrace change. And it's fun. And we have seen our revenues have grown substantially in the time I've been here, and our year-round visitation has grown. So there's a lot of very positive things that people look to us that are respected within the business and civic community in terms of our abilities to create economic opportunity for people.
What has been your
Best day at work? It has to be today, because today is the most recent day. If you keep focusing on what comes next, you're not licking your wounds. I wish I could go back to where I was. We still have a lot of great things to accomplish. And I mean, there's been some watershed days when we first created our New Year's Eve celebration, which was a game changer in terms of really baking in the innovation culture. And that was back in 2008. So when that came to fruition, that was a huge day. And in 2010, when we opened our new airport, that was a big day. But it's every time we turn around, we're doing something. It's a great feeling.
I've often said my goal each day is to be better than I was yesterday.
And that's the same as being a parent, right? Because you want to embed your kids with just a little bit better than you had it, just so you can move the needle, move humanity forward. And I think all of that is part of it. The team we have here is strong, and they each are very passionate about what they do. We don't tolerate toxic personalities because that's something that starts to break down teams and break down organizations. And we just have too much going on.
How would your children describe it?
My daughter describes me as a nut. She has had some experience with this. Just turned 33. She knows I'm driven, I'm passionate, I'm fun, and I have a creative side of me that is fun to be around.
How do you express that creativity?
Currently, I do woodworking. I carve bowls out of various hardwoods. I'm not a wood turner because I don't have a lathe, but I angle grinder and routers and saws. I make things. Right after Hurricane Michael, I had a lot of wood at my disposal was trees that were knocked down from the storm. I turned those into end tables, a dining room table, coffee tables. I'm a tinkerer.
What is something about you that would surprise most of the people on your staff?
One, that I'm creative. The thing that surprises most people is I'm an introvert. I am generally very reserved. I can be perfectly content sitting at home doing a crossword puzzle and not engaging with anybody. I speak in public all the time, but that is more of a learned behavior than a natural.
Do you still get nervous when you have to speak in public?
I never get nervous speaking in public. I get nervous at cocktail parties. If I have a microphone, I can own the room. But if I have to make small talk, I can be perfectly content by myself, just being reserved.
I am an introvert with some extrovert tendencies. My best secret, and it's not going to be a secret anymore, is when you have to be in a room and network, you go the opposite direction of the crowd because you see more people while you're making your way to the door to leave. And you always have somebody new that you can chat. If you go with the flow of the traffic, you're with the same 4 or 5 people the entire time, struggling conversation.
And I've been in the industry long enough where I walk into most industry conferences and I know a good number of people I can connect with. But if it's a cocktail reception where I don't know anybody, I'm just as happy to turn around and walk out and have a quiet evening.
What advice would you have for people who are starting their careers?
Always be curious. Curiosity helps drive innovation. Things will change. And if you're open to it, you can adapt to it. You can't get set in your ways. The way we always do is death sentence. If you're not growing, you're dying. If you're not open to innovation, somebody will outcompete you. Life's not fair. Sometimes things happen. That's just not fair, but that's part of it.
How did you realize that tourism was the career for you?
Right after 9/11, I was in hotel conference center business and I lost my job. I was director of sales and marketing resort because of 9/11. Up until that point, I had been really successful in resorts that had a sense of place. I was not successful when working for hotel companies stuck on standard operating procedures, where a hotel company is headquartered somewhere. I would never know the leadership of that hotel company. Yet I had to comply with everything they dictated from on high. And that was just a horrible experience for me. But when I was able to interact with the resort where I knew the leadership, I thrived in those environments. But after you fast forward to 9/11, that was a very blunt departure from the hospitality industry. And I had to do something else. I ended up working with a friend of mine and we created a tourism advocacy group in the state of Georgia. We were advocating on behalf of the industry to elected officials. I'm not a great lobbyist. I'm better at it now than I was. But that opened the door to me to get into the destination marketing side of things. The Commissioner of Economic Development for the state of Georgia asked me to join his team as the state travel director, the Deputy Commissioner of Economic Development. My first destination marketing job was at the state level. And I had that for a couple of years until the commissioner who hired me retired. The governor brought in a new commissioner who wanted to go with his own fee that was made available to the industry. And I ended up here and I have been here ever since. So I was in the resort industry for half my career, destination marketing for half. I was with Callaway Gardens and Pine Mountain, Georgia, then the Aspen Skiing Company, both for extended periods of time. Then I had a couple of short gigs working for hotel management companies. The destinations that have a sense of place were where I thrived. And that's why I knew that destination marketing was a good fit for me.
How would you describe that sense of place for Panama City Beach?
Our brand is Real Fun Beach. We've been doing this for a very long time. The first guy who opened a hotel in Panama City Beach did it in 1934. We have been welcoming people to the beach for 90 years now. The people who come here all come here because our beaches are fantastic. Sand in the water is beautiful. It's an authentic beach town. We have all the things you grew up going to when you went on vacation to the beach, go-kart, mini golf. In between being an authentic beach town and the beach itself, we are all about fun. You come here to have fun is the mortar between the brick. Our brand is Real Fun Beach. And that really showcases what makes Panama City Beach unique. This is the place where it's just too much fun to be here. We leaned into that and it shows up in all of our branding and our marketing, even during the pandemic when we were focused on N95 masks and all the rules, whether masks were required or suggested, all of this stuff was out there. And as we went through our messaging around that, we stayed on brand. So our creative talking about mask recommendations were 2 kids with snorkel masks that we did on an outdoor billboard. People got it because you didn't have to show the N95 mask, but it was a fun, light way to do it. And our social distancing created where everybody had to be 6 feet apart or 6 flip flops in the sand. People could immediately understand the messaging, but again, it was on brand. They knew that coming to Panama City Beach was going to be the same experience that they had experienced prior to the pandemic, or it may be a new experience for them because they've not been here before, but it's still lighthearted. It's about the brand. It's about having a great experience.
If you weren't in this industry, where would you be?
That is a question that I have no answer to because I have a brother who's a lawyer, and I have a brother who is in the entertainment business. I have a brother who's a college professor. My dad was a National Park Service ranger. My mom was an administrative assistant. So none of us had any kind of inkling of career paths that would even come close to crossing. So if I wasn't doing this, I don't know what I would be doing.
You could be weaving baskets underwater.
This is true. If I had an angle grinder and some, I would definitely be at it. Because in making things is, I do like to create things with my hands.
What's something you would love to learn in the next year?
How to do a double haul cast with my fly rod. I am a decent angler, but a double cast is really required to fish in the waters here on the flats because you have to be able to get the fly out. The timing of it is beyond my comprehension right now. It's something I'm working on, but I haven't gotten it done yet.
If there was something you could change about the industry, what would it be?
If I could change anything about the industry, it would be how destinations get sucked into the morass of state, local, and federal politics. If we could just stay focused on doing our job, inviting people and welcoming people to communities to be able to spend money and create great experiences without the noise of political interference, that would be the one thing.
That is one of the things I couldn't do. I couldn't do the politics.
It's never ending. You just have to make sure that you stay focused. Sometimes the destination marketers have done stupid things. And we as an industry all suffer when one of our colleagues does something stupid. There's liars, cheats, and thieves in every walk of life. We just have to work past that. If you stay focused and stay as a honest broker and a good partner, you're able to navigate a lot of it, or I have been. Sometimes you lose, and then you just have to pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and keep going, and not just dwell on the battles that you've lost, but figure out how you can succeed, because that's the challenge. If you're able to overcome the setbacks, then you can keep moving forward.
What might be one or two questions that you ask everybody you interview for a new job?
I ask how they organize their day because I want to see how somebody's thinking. A lot of times I'll ask them to describe their refrigerator to me. And that's one that people have that reaction because it's okay, what? And basically, you start to learn people's passions and how they talk about what they have purchased and what they're going to eat and how and food, because food is one of those important things. It also helps you understand the type of person they are, whether things are haphazard, messy, or if they have it all organized. You get a lot of interesting takeaways from people because we all have strengths and weaknesses, but this is one where people can just get really passionate about something that has nothing to do with anything other than passion and organization.
So I'll ask you, how do you describe your fridge?
My refrigerator is broken up into several places. My wife and I keep all of our leftovers on a couple of shelves. The drawer that has cheese in it is a complete mess because we have string cheese for our dog. She likes her cheeses and I like mine. And so it's just all pushed in there together. But the stuff that we use all the time is always kept in the door just to make it convenient.
What kind of dog do you have?
He is a heathen, a mix between a boxer, a lab, Stratford American Terrier, and other random dogs who showed up under my car one day, 10 years ago, 11 years ago. I was getting ready to go on a trip to Dallas, and I'm backing out of the driveway, and there's this little black and white blob on the driveway we just had backed up from. I was like, oh my God, there's a dog in our driveway. So I got out of the car, and I'm late to catch a flight, and I realized it was a puppy. And so I pick him up and I got him to the back gate. Fortunately, my wife was home. She travels a lot, but she was there that day. And then as soon as I got the puppy through the gate, he turned into a whirling dervish of puppy teeth and claws and just started thrashing. I ended up dropping him, and he ran into a corner of the yard, and I had to run into the house, tell my wife, oh, by the way, there's a black and white puppy in the backyard. And I called the airport director who was on the flight with me. And I said, please hold the plane because I'm running late. Please do anything you can to hold the plane. And he didn't end up having to hold the plane, but I literally, the last person who got on the plane, I shut the door and we took off. But we named the dog Trip because I was leaving on a trip. He also is a trip personality wise because he had feral tendencies from living on the mean streets, an 8-week-old puppy. He's a sweetheart, but at a drop of a hat, he can just go off and do his thing. But he's a great dog. We love him, and we're glad he's in our life.
Do you think having a dog makes you a better person?
Absolutely. I think because anytime you are able to invest in something, right? A dog has a personality, to invest your time, your love in that. And then it's just complete without judgment. They reflect it back. And that interaction, it does make you a better person because Trip doesn't care what job I do. He doesn't care how much money I make. He's in the moment. He's always excited to see me when I come home.
String cheese.
That's exactly right. He does understand the transactions.
I have two. Both were found on the streets. One is an Amstaff, and the other is an 8-pound Chihuahua mix. And she is
We've had as many as 3, but we're down to 1 right now. Tell me about an initiative you're getting ready to start on.
Oh, I love this. I am a nerd. I absolutely love to learn. And every single day, I embrace opportunities to learn something. We purchased the JB Media Institute earlier this year, and with that came the DIY marketing and DIY tourism marketing conferences. We are in our first full year cycle, getting ready for our conference in March of next year. I'm learning something about it every day. I just finished a course on transformative customer experiences. So I'm learning how I can apply that in the services we offer to our partners and how they offer that service to their stakeholder. And I'm a digital nomad. So I'm usually someplace different every week, which means there's always a new, sunrise to see. There's always a new walk to take. There's always something different. And that love for learning or that want to learn is, I think, something that we share with the traveler. We visit different places because we want to see something new. We want to try a new food or see a new dance or some new music, or whatever the case may be. I think as long as people can embrace learning.
The couple things I'm working on is we're starting a national conversation to help communities address the impacts from lawless behavior of young people. We have teen takeovers. We see it in communities across the country. We experienced a couple of them in April, and the community said, we're not doing this. And we've got to fight back, because if you don't stop the behavior, then it has the potential of harming your brand, and it has the potential of putting people at risk. And so we are not just looking at this from a law and order standpoint, creating rules, curfews, penalties, and putting people in jail. We're also looking at how to get the media platforms to also to helping solve this problem. In Congress and the Senate, there's the Kids Online Safety Act that we are working to get an amendment into that will help require the platforms to de-amplify message that encourages kids to take illegal or destructive behavior. If we're able to stop viral videos of teen takeovers from going viral, then you're able to protect kids. We've seen it everywhere in the last month where kids and young people are being unduly influenced, to a point where to their own personal detriment. And we believe that is something that's a societal issue that we have to help address. And we're looking at it from the protection of our brand, in our community. We're starting that national discussion. Hopefully we'll be able, because I think our congressional delegation, they're going to lean into this, and that will be huge for us.
If folks want to join you on that mission or learn more about visiting Panama City Beach, how would they go about doing so?
My email address is drowe@visitpanamacitybeach.com, and the website is visitpanamacitybeach.com. Reach out to me. I'm happy to share. We're working with Destinations International and US Travel on this. We've had conversations with both of them, and DI has one of their working groups that is really helping to continue to explore and craft this messaging. We're in the early stages, but I think it's worth doing.
Is there anything you'd like to ask me?
What gets you up in the morning?
My ambition is to be half as great a person as my niece and nephew think.
That's a good one.
And that means being better today than I was yesterday and looking forward to being better tomorrow. That's what gets me going. And setting the tone for what it means to be kind and generous, full and true and ethical. I think it's an ambition.
And it keeps you from having to look over your shoulder.
And as an organization, we of course have our conference, which is coming up in March. We'd love to see somebody from your team there. It's going to be in Richmond, Virginia. There's a marketing, a leadership, and a visitor engagement track.
This has been very informative to me. And so this will allow me to start thinking through things. When we come to that next hurdle, you may be able to provide the solution.
I'm happy to help. Well, thank you.
Good.
I appreciate you. Have a wonderful afternoon. Enjoy the beach.
And we'll talk soon.
Take care. Thanks for tuning in to Business Class. This episode was brought to you by Learn Tourism, the nonprofit academy where we advance the tourism industry with cutting-edge training and sustainable practices. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to visit learntourism.org to learn more about our programs and how you can get involved. Until next time, stay curious, continue learning and making a difference through tourism.